It can be if you adjust.
It just takes a little while to get used to that change.
Even though we're gaining that hour, because it tends to be dark, so the air is really thick, but it's really off.
Ready?
I love sleeping.
Ready to roll?
Whenever you guys are.
Really right now. Every single day.
Ready? Okay. Okay, welcome to the City of Taft Planning Commission's regular meeting for Wednesday, November 25th, 2025. We're having the meeting at City Hall Council Chamber at 209 East Kern Street, Taft, California, 93268. City of Taft Planning Commission meetings are held in person with full capacity seating and are live streamed at https://www.youtube.com/user/City of Taft. That's all one word. Public comment can be made in person and can also be received per the following. Written comments may be dropped off at the drop box in front of City Hall. Comments may be emailed to the city clerk at cityofclerk@cityoftaft.org. Made by phone to the city clerk's office at 661-763-1222. Public comments not made in person will be accepted up until 1 hour before the meeting. Any comments received will be read into the record. Okay. We have the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll be followed by the invocation given by Pastor Bella Black. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor?
Good evening. It's good to see everybody once again. It's been a while. Thank you for the opportunity to pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing this planning commission together today for this important planning meeting. We ask you for your guidance and wisdom as they discuss, plan for the future. Please help them to keep an open mind and listen to one another with open hearts. Give them patience and a spirit of cooperation so they may work together effectively. May they have the grace to communicate clearly and respectfully, and may their decisions be pleasing to you. Guide their thoughts and bless their work so that they may accomplish here, may bring you glory. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. I need to grab a pen real quickly. Sorry. Okay. Can we have our roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Dowden?
Here.
Vice Chairman Schertz? Absent. Commissioner McDaniel?
Here.
Commissioner Black?
Here.
Chairman Livingston?
Here. Okay, the first item on the agenda will be the seating of newly appointed Planning Commissioner Don Black.
I state your name.
I, Don Black,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I'll have some sign taken at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Congratulations, Don,
Thank you, sir.
and the team. I attended the city council meeting where the new planning commissioner was chosen. There were two very good applicants, and so I'm pleased that we've had actually some competition for it. And welcome Don to the planning commission. Next item up will be a public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's the applicant for the first public hearing.
Okay. Because I just didn't see any,
We moved the public comment to after the public
Okay.
hearings.
okay,
So that's the way the city council does it, so we're kind of,
copying them, are we?
we're updating.
Okay, thank you. So, this will be item number 2, a public hearing on the conditional use permit number 2024-07 and variance application number 2025-03 with conditions to develop a miniature golf course located at 419 and 421 Kern Street within the downtown transition mixed-use zone district on the south side of Kern Street, east of 5th Street at APN number 031-090-05 and -06. We're going to have our presentation from our planning director, for want of a better term at the moment.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks, Planning Commissioners. This item is a conditional use permit, 2024-07, and variance application 2025-03. The applicant, Bernard Herman, who is in the audience tonight, is proposing to construct a miniature golf course on an approximately 0.14 acre site in the downtown transition mixed-use zone district, located on the south side of Kern Street, east. It's between 4th and 5th Street. The project site is currently vacant and undeveloped. However, there is a special event permit that is approved until this weekend, the end of this weekend. And so the applicant submitted their plans last May for the conditional use permit. And then in April of this year, they submitted a variance application to reduce the minimum parking standards identified by the Taft Municipal Code and the downtown Taft specific plan. A preliminary comment letter was provided that included comments from Caltrans because it is along Kern Street or the State Route 33, and also by the Public Works Department, Kern County Fire, and West Kern Water District, and the Planning Department. And then after acceptance, it was routed for comment to the same agencies. All received comments have been incorporated into the conditions of approval. The land use, as stated previously, the zone district is a downtown transition mixed use, and the miniature golf course falls under the commercial recreational facilities outdoor land use. And that is permitted in the zone district so long as there is an approved conditional use permit. The development standards, so setbacks, there's a requirement of a 10-foot minimum front setback. Proposed, as you'll see on the site plan, is 10 feet. There's a minimum interior side setback of 5 feet, and proposed is 5 feet, and a minimum rear setback of 22 feet, or 5 feet, and proposed is 22 feet. The maximum building height is 45 feet. However, there were no permanent building elevations submitted, but the structures have been conditioned to be less than 45 feet. Getting into parking requirements, and part of the reason for the variance. So the downtown Taft specific plan identifies parking requirements for different land uses. For this specific land use, it requires 1 space per miniature golf hole, and with 18 miniature golf holes, that's 18 required spaces. So that would be the minimum needed for the site. However, the applicant proposes only 4 parking spaces, 3 uncovered compact spaces, and then 1 ADA accessible space. And, because of that, the variance application was applied for to request relief from that. And additionally, the TMC, or the Taft Municipal Code, requires all permanent parking spaces to be paved and permanently maintained with asphalt or concrete, or an alternative weather surface that is approved by the Public Works Director. The site plan identifies 3 uncovered spaces as unpaved area. However, the project has been conditioned to provide surfacing for all parking spaces consistent with that section. As stated further on, as I will state further on, the staff has recommended denial of the proposed variance application. However, section 6-14-5 of the TMC allows for modified parking requirements within the downtown commercial zone districts through different techniques, but one of those is to allow the use of off-site parking in parking lots located within 400 feet of the structure of the site. And so there are 2 city-owned parking lots that are approximately 150 feet away from the property, and staff believes that that would provide adequate parking for the development. And findings for the approval of that parking adjustment are provided later in the report. Refuse containers, trash containers, new development. The TMC requires new development to include adequate, accessible, and convenient areas for collecting and loading recyclable materials. On the site plan, it shows these containers to be adjacent to the alley. Currently, it proposes 1 trash enclosure size per city requirements. That includes 1 96-gallon trash and 1 96-gallon recycling. Additionally, the site plan proposes a 6-foot-high chain link fence or solid privacy fence. However, the project has been conditioned to provide that 6-foot-high solid masonry wall, and so with the condition, the project complies with the requirement. For landscaping, the downtown specific plan requires development to strategically locate landscape elements to define and accentuate different areas of the neighborhood. This area is in an edge area in the downtown specific plan, so it requires it to provide a unifying 3-tiered system of formal and mature trees. They should be planned as an integral part of the project and not left as an afterthought. So the project, it does propose outdoor carpet or turf for the mini golf area and frontage. However, does not comply with the landscaping requirements of the DTSP. So the project has been conditioned to provide landscaping along the project frontage consistent with the DTSP. And along with that, to obtain a building permit and submit formal landscape plans for all landscaping within the project area. Surfacing requirements, it proposes paving in the ADA parking area, decomposed granite in the project entrance along Kern Street and the northern property line, and then outdoor carpet or turf throughout the miniature golf area, and an unpaved area located in the complex parking spaces, trash enclosure, picnic area, and maintenance storage area. However, the ADA does require paving to provide firm, stable, and slip-resistant surfaces for accessible routes. And so staff has conditioned the project to provide adequate paving in all areas proposed as decomposed granite or as unpaved. And it has been conditioned to provide adequate ADA access to the miniature golf area through paved material consistent with ADA requirements. Lighting, the DTSP does encourage pedestrian lighting for all pedestrian-oriented development. And while the project doesn't propose any lighting, and the operational statement states that the facility will only be open during daylight hours. However, it does detail that the proposed hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So it's likely the operation will be open in winter months where it gets dark earlier in the night, like tonight. So the project has been conditioned to provide pedestrian-oriented lighting, especially along that frontage along Kern Street. There's no signage proposed as part of this CUP. However, all future proposed signs are required to obtain a sign permit with the Planning and Building Divisions. The TMC does identify noise hazards, so there is an adjacent residence to the east, southeast, I guess. And it proposes a 6 foot, so the development proposes a 6 foot high solid privacy fence along the southern property line. Specifically, the plans state a lifetime steel post model or equal wood picket fence. It's not super clear whether it's a wood picket fence or whether the wood picket fence is a solid fence or, the typical, white picket fences. So just regardless of that, the project's been conditioned to provide the solid fence along the southeastern property line to provide that adequate screening. Vehicular access to the site would be provided by one point of ingress and egress, vehicular ingress and egress at the rear alley. Pedestrian access is provided along the project frontage and along the rear alley. There's an existing 4-foot sidewalk along the frontage, and there's approximately 12 feet of dead landscaping between the sidewalk and the curb. And because of that dead landscaping, the project has been conditioned to provide new landscaping consistent with the municipal code and the downtown specific plan requirements for landscaping. The project proposes, for utilities, the project proposes to utilize a mobile water tank for non-potable water for restroom facilities and connection to city sewer and stormwater services. However, because it is a permanent development, the project's been conditioned to connect the site to all applicable public utilities, including water, sanitary sewer, and stormwater drainage systems to the satisfaction of the city and any other applicable agencies such as West Kern Water District, which is typical for a permanent development in the city of Taft. And drainage, the project has been conditioned to provide to obtain approval of a grading plan from the building department. As you'll see in your staff report, the project is consistent with policies LU5, LU49, LU51, and Goal OS2 of the general plan. And it's also consistent with the downtown specific plan, specifically goals 2-1, goal 2-3, and goal 3-1. Oh, you know what? I didn't mention at the start of the staff report. That's my mistake. So the variance, staff is recommending denial of the variance, simply because the findings, as you will read in the staff report, cannot be made. Specifically, finding 2, finding 3, finding 4, and findings 2, 3, and 4. However, regardless of that variance application, staff has been able to make the findings for the parking adjustment, and that's provided later on in the staff report. Additionally, with the CUP, staff has been able to make the following findings and has determined that the project is exempt from CEQA through a Class 32 or an infill development exemption. And with that, staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit 2024-07 with conditions, and to deny the variance application number 2025-03 to develop the miniature golf course. And the applicant's available for any questions, and staff is available for any questions.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow the commission to ask any questions directly of you, then I will open up then I will invite the applicant to come up and speak, and then that's when we'll open the public hearing, is when he makes his public statements.
Sounds good.
And then we'll close the public hearing and make our decision, okay? Okay. So if any of you folks have any questions for our planning?
I got question or comment.
Yeah.
Outside the norm of a regular business, whatever that may be, but normally we'd have a store facade and with certain colors, landscape, whatever. It's no really like storefront per se, so like
Correct.
we're used to saying, okay, certain type of build, certain colors. It's just chain link fence, and you can basically see all the way through. I guess being on a main road like that, I'd kind of recommend maybe, even if it was like a really nice banner or something across there, it'd also kind of make it people more curious about the business, but might be just a nice something to put up for people to look at when they drive by or something.
Yeah, you know, with the, as the conditions read, staff doesn't recommend changing the, or, you know, not that we don't recommend it, but the conditions don't read as requiring changing the proposed chain link fence, simply because it is permitted by the municipal code. However, you can add that condition to the recommendation if the commission does decide to approve the CUP.
Okay, well, we'll
And-
discuss that again with the applicant and the,
And I do agree that we could kind of utilize the parking down the way, that parking lot. It's there and it's for public use, so might as well let businesses use it for something like this, so I agree with that.
any other questions?
I just had one regarding the restroom facility. I saw it. I read. I believe it's page number 8 of this, and maybe you addressed it and I just missed it in what you were talking about. But has that been addressed?
Yeah. So condition number.
It was a single restroom.
Yeah, condition number 1 of the planning department conditions does require installation of permanent on-site restroom facilities that are compliant with ADA. So as proposed, it does not, it does not comply with ADA. So through building permits, the applicant would be required to
Okay. Perfect.
provide, ADA plans, full improvement plans.
Okay. Any other questions?
None for me.
Okay, then we're going to open the public hearing. And the project applicant is here, and so I'm going to invite him to come up and make whatever presentation he feels is appropriate. And then we'll grill you with any questions we feel like we need to ask. Okay.
Thanks so much. Good evening. My name is Bernard Herman. Seeking approval for the permit for mini golf here in Taft. There was a question about the fencing, and yeah, we would put cedar fencing up along the side of the against the residence there. It would be solid privacy barrier. And yeah, I'm here to answer any other questions. And thanks for having me here.
Just want to wish you a lot of luck. It's nice seeing a new thing coming to Taft for people to do, and I hope it's successful.
Any questions over on this side?
There it is.
Yeah, I have a question maybe for the temporary planning department here. If we allow the conditional use permit, is there a time period for these things to be implemented?
Yes, so per the code and condition,
It's usually towards the end.
here. Planning condition number 9, the CUP does expire within 12 months.
Page
The applicant
66.
can extend it with an extension of time for up to, I believe it's 2 years. So they can extend the approval. They can do essentially two-year extensions
Right.
if approved by the planning commission. But those extensions of time would have to come back before the planning commission for approval.
And those are the typical extensions that are already in the subdivision map act,
No, it's
or the planning code, pardon me.
Right, right.
And this doesn't include any potential extensions done by the legislature, which is a possibility depending on the economic situation is usually when I've seen those happen. So.
Correct. Yeah, so the extensions, as far as I'm aware, they would be directly from the municipal code.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Any other questions?
Not so much a question, but let me just echo what Commissioner Dowden said. It is always exciting to hear, something coming in that, presents opportunities of entertainment and activities for this Taft area. And so I do commend that.
Well, I have a few. My assumption is you're planning on using the parking lot across the street. I don't know who owns the property right next to it with parking there. But we need to make sure that if it's not owned, or if you haven't done a deal, that does not get impacted if we're gonna allow you to do the off-site parking. Yeah, I'm aware you can't get 18 on it, but I'm also a little concerned that while it is a commercial zone, it's one of the residential portions of the commercial zone. Have you had any discussions or talks with the neighbor regarding you've run it for what, about 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
And how did that?
Oh, yeah, I'm in contact with the owner. I believe you're referring to the what used to be West Air, I believe,
Yeah.
next door. So I'm in contact with the owner as well as the subleaser, and we've agreed on the current fencing there, and we've agreed on parking, in the 3 spaces as well as the 180A, and then as approved, hopefully today, in the city lots only. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm in contact with everybody.
And have you been in contact with the residential nature on the other side?
Yes,
What's happened
and on
there?
the other side, both in contact with the tenants and the owner as well, and the management, yes.
Okay, any issues that you needed to work out with them?
No, they were happy to see the old fence come down and the new fence put up, and I was able to clean both sides, next to the west there, next to the residence, and tidy it up a little bit, and both owners and tenants, they seem to be pretty happy with the work that we did, so, yeah.
I might have missed something. You've got, what, 3 or 4 trees on the site?
Yes.
Are you leaving those, or are you
The
taking
plan is
down?
to leave the trees, yeah.
Okay.
And in addition, we're also complying with the recommendations to put more trees in the parking area. So yeah, we'll have some box trees there as well.
Okay. See if we have any other questions before we let you go and have our discussion. I'm generally not inclined to, just so you know, not inclined to approve a project with such a large difference in the parking. We're talking 15 spaces. We are fortunate that the city owns some parking nearby, and you're right, it is there for that, but that also creates traffic issues for kids, which would be my assumption that you're going to end up with, mostly. So that one's causing me a little heartburn. I haven't made a decision yet, but just so you know. I don't have any other direct questions. Does anybody else have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, then we're going to close the public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
And we're going to close the public hearing and allow anybody on the commission to either ask discuss anything you want to discuss before we make a decision, and then also we're open to a motion from the folks. You may ask our planning, I'm going to just keep calling you planning director.
For sure.
You may ask our planning director for a suggestion on how to make the change so that you get a proper motion, considering we usually read the entire motion. So if that's an issue, one of the either planning director or our attorney can help with that if that's necessary. Okay?
Yeah.
Any questions then?
Nope.
Anything you want to discuss?
Yes, sir. To our planning director, so you're saying that you are in favor of granting the permit, but not the variance?
That is correct. So if you read the first page of the resolution at the top, that is how the recommendation is stated, or should be stated. The staff report is incorrect, but the resolution is correct. So it recommends approval of the conditional use permit with conditions and denial of the variance application.
And that is what we see here in this printed?
No, that's the
So
agenda.
it's not on the agenda or the staff report. There's just minor differences. I should have read that at the beginning of the
No, that's all right.
presentation, but the resolution, so it's this page right here, is correct. Do they have this? The
I
resolution
am looking for it right now.
that has the conditions of approval?
No, it should be in your staff report.
Should be.
It should be right after the staff report.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. The resolution starts on
Page,
page 10, I think.
yeah.
It would be page 10, so this is what it looks like. Okay. And this one is, this resolution is appropriately written.
Correct.
Okay, resolution 2507?
Yep.
To 202507.
Okay, and I believe yeah, okay. So if anyone wants to, like I said, you can ask for some help because isn't
It's a
exact.
convoluted one.
Right.
It is. It is. So just one more question, Mr. Planning Director. The variance really has to do with the parking spaces?
Correct. So the variance is only specifically for the asking for the reduction in parking spaces. Variances are typically hard to make findings for. So that's why staff has recommended denial of the variance. However, there is that parking reduction allowed by the municipal code. So in approving the CUP, you would also be approving the parking reduction as well.
So the only real difference is that the variance, if we disapproved it, would mean that he hasn't got a variance, but he's still within his rights to deal with the parking at the parking lot across the street.
Correct.
He'll simply only be required to do the lots that can, the parking spots that can fit on the lot.
Correct.
And you will have handicap parking on site, and parking's probably 200 feet away.
Yep.
Well,
Yep. So if
250.
you, on page 8 are the parking adjustment findings, page 8 of the staff report. There's 5 findings there. And then on page 6, very bottom of page 5, and then all of page 6 are the variance findings. And then so findings 2, 3, and 4 of the variance can't be made, in staff's opinion. But all of the parking adjustment findings can be made. So, yes, it's the city-owned parking lot is approximately 150 feet away. The parking adjustment in the municipal code allows it to be up to 400 feet away.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for staff? If we don't, then I'm open to somebody making a motion.
I'll motion.
You don't want to use that one, though.
So,
It'll work.
quick question. If you do recommend, or if you do adopt staff's recommendation, you can read it as, I motion to adopt a resolution, and then just start reading the resolution on the resolution page, because that has the correct resolution on it.
Yeah, just this part right here,
Yeah, no, this bold part here, too.
or this pole part.
On the, see, you're on the agenda. Right? There,
The very
copy
top.
that right there.
All right.
Thank you.
I will motion to adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Taft approving conditional use permit number 2024-07 with conditions and denying variance application number 2025-03 to develop a miniature golf course located at 419/421 Kern Street within the downtown transition mixed use zone district on the south side of Kern Street between 4th and 5th Street. APNs 031-090-05 and 06.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Any final comments from the commission before we vote? Okay. well,
Mr. Chairman, if we could do that by roll call as well, please.
We will, yes. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate the effort being done with this. I'm very concerned about the location, to be honest with you. So I will probably be voting no. That said, we will need a roll call vote, and we'll call for the question.
Commissioner Dowd?
Yes.
Commissioner McDaniel?
Yes.
Commissioner Black?
I'm going to abstain. This is the first I haven't had any information about this, so it wouldn't be fair for me to vote on something I don't have any information on, really, so.
Okay. And Chairman?
No.
Thank you.
That puts us at an issue, doesn't it? 2-1, appropriate?
Yes, it does, because we need a majority of the quorum, which would be a minimum of 3 in this case.
Okay.
Staff can bring it back at a later date.
Why don't we do that? That'll give Mr. Black the opportunity to review the material. I had a sense he probably wouldn't have a problem with it, but seeing as his concern is to not have had a chance to read the documents, if we continue it to
A date certain.
Can we push it to next month?
well, that's kind of what we're asking. Date certain usually means the next available spot on the agenda, if there's a spot available, usually. And staff usually finds the opportunity to pick that, but you can certainly make your recommendation to staff what you'd like, when you'd like to see it. So, if possible, next meeting. If not, then however it fits your schedule.
I believe it was unclear whether or not there'd be a planning commission meeting in December. That doesn't mean there can't be.
Yeah, it was unclear if there, as usual, we don't meet if we don't have something to actually make a good a decision on. And in this case, we will have something, so if we can have it on the December meeting, that would be appropriate. I was going to say that you probably, make a small adjustment to the actual paperwork.
Yes.
And bring it back. We won't need a complete presentation again, just any comments you might have between now and then. If the applicant wants to add something, he'll have a chance at that time to again address the Planning Commission. We'll reopen the public hearing, I think, in order to allow that. That seems like a reasonable thing to do as well. And then we'll take the vote then. I'd hate to have it just die here because we all have our own opinion, but I want to have Mr. Black have the opportunity to actually address it.
So staff can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that would be December 17th. Is that?
It would be December 3rd.
Third.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, the first. Correct.
First,
We're the
Yes.
first Wednesday of the month.
Mhm.
So it would be December
Which-
3rd.
Is usually not a problem yet. The 17th would have been.
So then we'd just be looking for a motion to continue this item to a date certain of December 3rd, 2025.
I would make a motion to table this and bring it back December 3rd of 2025.
A second.
Is that appropriate, or do we need to use different language?
I wouldn't say table. I would say to continue it to a date certain
continue
of
it.
December 3rd.
Make a motion to
2025.
continue it until December 3rd,
Yeah,
2025.
date certain of December 3rd, 2025.
Yes, sir.
And does the seconder
Yes.
approve? Okay, so we
Second.
have a motion
And a second.
and a second, and we'll need a roll call vote on that as well.
Commissioner Dowden?
Yes.
Commissioner McDaniel?
Yes.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Chairman Livingston?
Yes. Okay, and that ends this particular meeting on this issue, December, sir. And I'm sorry about the issues, but that's sometimes just the way it works out, doesn't it? Okay, we have another item on the agenda, I believe.
Yep. The second item on tonight's agenda is the adoption of the new 2025 California Building Code, as well as the CAL FIRE fire hazard maps. So the recommendation, staff's recommendation is to adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Taft recommending approval to the City Council of an ordinance amendment of Title V of the Taft Municipal Code to adopt the 2025 California Building, Residential, Plumbing, Mechanical, Electrical, Energy, Green Building Standards, and Fire Codes, and incorporation of CAL FIRE fire hazard maps with certain exceptions, edits, and corrections. As some of you may be aware, every 3 years, the California Building Standards Commission adopts an updated code for design and construction of buildings and structures within the state, otherwise known as the California Building Standards Code, also known as just the Building Code, or Title 24. State law mandates local governments to enforce these regulations or enforce local ordinances containing qualified, reasonably necessary, and generally more restrictive building standards than those provided in the statewide code. The 2025 edition, which includes building, residential, plumbing, mechanical, electrical, energy, green building, fire, and other related codes. The state adopted it on July 1st of this year, and they become effective statewide on January 1st, 2026. And again, local jurisdictions are required to adopt them to remain in compliance with state law. If no action's taken by this date, by the January 1st date, the state's code in its entirety will automatically apply within the agency's jurisdiction when processing building permit applications. Adoption of the code by reference allows future amendments to the building code to be included automatically rather than requiring the city to continually update their whole code with the new code whenever it comes out. Local amendments can be included if justified by specific climatic, geological, or topographical conditions. This year's code, it's a comprehensive update that reorganizes chapters and introduces new modern technical provisions, specifically the California Wildland Urban Interface Code, which consolidates the prior wildfire-resistant construction requirements. That specific code also references CAL FIRE's updated fire hazard severity zone, which does designate parts of Taft within a high hazard zone. And incorporating these maps by reference ensures consistency with state wildfire resilience and building safety standards. Other updates are structural and seismic alignment with the ACSC standards, which are essentially just minimum design loads for different weather events. It also includes energy efficiency enhancements, expanded Cal Green provisions that include new electrical vehicle infrastructure and sustainable design. It also refines the existing building code and plumbing code for clarity and consistency, and it repeals duplicative or outdated amendments by the state fire marshal and the division of the state architect. These updates do improve regulatory consistency without imposing new burdens on local jurisdictions or requiring additional local modifications. And after comparing the updates with Taft's current municipal code, we've determined that there's no additional local amendments that are required. The existing findings related to climatic, geological, and topographical conditions do remain valid, and they adequately justify adoption by reference. So therefore, staff recommends adoption of the building code, the 2025 California Building Standards Code, and the related CAL FIRE fire hazard maps without modification to ensure the city remains current with state law and consistent with the statewide fire safety and structural standards. So this item, the City Council is the ultimate approving body, so you would be making a recommendation for a recommendation. You would be making a
referral,
recommendation to the City Council.
City Council, okay. The fire hazard severity zone maps, I seem to recall there was some discussion about those at a previous city council meeting. Were you privy to those discussions?
I was not, so that was probably when the last building code was updated.
No, I mean,
Recently?
within the last 6 months, they were discussed in front of the commission. I believe one of the, maybe it was CAL FIRE, I don't know, there was a fellow that made a presentation on it, and it did raise some issues with the council.
Okay.
I believe there might have been a motion to address it, not a motion, but a request to look at that at a future date. So I'm just suggesting that somebody see if they can harmonize that. I'm not asking for you to make any changes or anything like that. Just be aware that that was an issue, and if you're presenting this to the city council, you might want to be prepared for some discussion on those issues.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Appreciate that.
Do we have a motion to recommend? In this case, you can read it right off the top of the staff report or off of your agenda.
Yeah, it does have to go to a public hearing because it is a,
It's not a public hearing, is it?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Oh, pardon me, then we need to open the public hearing. We'll do that right now. My apologies. I was thinking of it more like a presentation. Anyways, now if there's anybody present who would like to address the fire code with, the building code with the planning commission, feel free to do so. If not, we will then close the public hearing. Hearing's closed. Now I can ask for a motion. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Planning Director, how does this differ from previous building codes? I mean, is it just bringing it up to date with California code?
yeah, so it's essentially, so every 3 years, the state adopts a new code. So currently, the state uses the 2022 building code.
Okay.
So essentially just brings it up to new like energy efficiency standards. Sometimes there's inconsistencies between codes. This code removes those inconsistencies. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of it's about energy efficiency, new weather events. I know fire's a big deal
Right.
in the state right now, so they've adopted some new regulations there.
Given the LA fire and the issues with the wildland-urban interface, that's not a surprise that they would want to address that more clearly.
Yep.
Yeah, new technologies come out, so like solar wasn't a big deal 20 years ago, but now all the rules about how to install solar and maintain it.
Safety of the.
So there's always new products and variations that need to be done.
Okay, well then, now I'm going to open it up for somebody to give me a motion.
I would make a motion of a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Taft recommending approval to the City Council ordinance amendment of Title V of this Taft Municipal Code to adopt the 2025 California Building, Residential Plumbing, Mechanical, Electrical, Energy, Green Building Standards, and Fire Codes, and incorporation of CAL FIRE hazard maps with certain exceptions, edits, and corrections.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
Okay. Then we'll need a roll call vote.
Commissioner Dowden,
Yes.
Commissioner McDaniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Black,
Yes.
Chairman Livingston.
Yes. Okay, the recommendation goes forward on a 4-0 with one absence. We'll now move on to the next Planning Commission report, which is a public hearing on a conditional use permit number 2025-13, a wireless telecommunications facility. Mr. Director?
Thank you, Chair. This last item on the agenda, planning item on the agenda, is a conditional use permit number 2025-13 to construct a new 75-foot monopole wireless telecommunications facility or cell tower within a 50 by 50 square foot lease area on city property located on the south side of where Enterprise Way dead ends. The zone district is classified as general commercial in the zoning maps and commercial in the general plan. The project site is currently vacant, and the applicant has secured a lease agreement with the city of Taft for use of the property. This was approved, I don't know the specific date, but it was approved at council.
A couple weeks ago.
The conditional use permit was submitted in September of this year, and it was found to meet the development standards of the general commercial zone district, and the specific use development standards for wireless telecommunications facilities in Chapter 12, Section 33 of the Municipal Code. Specifically, Tier 2 of that section, it was found to meet those standards with, as conditioned. So for setbacks, there's a minimum 0-foot building, or front building setback. There's 45 feet proposed. There's a requirement for a 0-foot side street setback. There are no side streets on the property, so it's not applicable here. There's a 0-foot rear setback, and currently, as proposed, there's 350 feet, and the maximum building height is 45 feet. However, the Chapter 12, Section 33 of the Municipal Code does allow an increase in height, specifically for wireless telecommunications facilities. So in Section 6-12-33, applications for cell towers are subject to a 2-tier review process. So Tier 1 is either a site plan review reviewed by the project assistance team, which would be staff, or Tier 2, which is a conditional use permit subject to planning commission approval. This project doesn't qualify for Tier 1, so it does qualify for Tier 2 review because the proposed height of the monopole does exceed the minimum height allowed by the zone district. And so in the staff report, we have provided analysis, making sure the project is compliant with the Tier 2 review. So one of those requirements is verification of compliance with the American National Standards Institute and the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers by providing a copy, and the applicant has complied with this requirement by providing a copy of the FCC license agreement. It's included as attachment 4 of the agenda, or of the project packet. The next requirement is verification of compliance with the Federal Aviation Administration. The applicant has provided FAA verification of compliance, and it was reviewed and submitted and reviewed. It's included in attachment 5. So the project does meet this requirement. The Tier 2 also requires information on type, height, and cell coverage. There's so as the plans state, the tower is a monopole tower, and the proposed height is 75 feet. There are coverage maps that have been included in the packet, and that's under attachment 6. And those coverage maps do show the new coverage of the cell tower, or of the new cell tower. So it does meet this requirement. The location guidelines, it does have a preference of where the facilities are located. So that preference is first industrial zones, then natural resource zones, then ag zones, then commercial zones, and then community facility zones. The proposed facility is on vacant land within a commercial zone, specifically the general commercial zone. But the applicant has provided an alternative sites analysis, which is in attachment 7. Excuse me one second. That serves as reasoning and clarification as to why this property was chosen over other properties, and why it's in this zone district. So we believe the requirement is met. The code does state that facilities should be co-located with or on an existing facility where appropriate. However, the proposed facility is not co-located with or on an existing facility. There is that alternative sites analysis and reasoning as to why it's infeasible to co-locate the facility. Essentially, there's none in the area that it can co-locate onto, and the location as proposed gives the maximum amount of coverage. The code does state that facilities should be utilized as stealth designs. So staff has looked into this within the surrounding landscape. There's not any existing large trees, so staff would think it would be weird to require a tree. And there's very little development to the east and south. However, west of the property is State Route 33, and north of the property is the large commercial center, the Tractor Supply area. So the proposed facility is a galvanized, non-reflective sky blue steel structure designed to blend with the surrounding sky. A standard finished for cell towers. However, we have conditioned it to provide a radome, so essentially a cover around the antennas, so you don't see the antennas poking out. And that actually, well, I'll get to it. So we've conditioned it to provide a radome screening and to paint the tower in a desert tan color. We think that would blend well in the area because of the dry grasses, and the buildings are also tan. The code also states that facilities should be roof or wall mounted as an integral architectural element on an existing structure. The facility is not roof or wall mounted. It wouldn't be tall enough to reach its coverage objective. Again, that alternative sites analysis provides reasoning as to why other sites were infeasible. This code also states that facilities should utilize state-of-the-art wireless technology. This facility will support the latest 4G, LTE, and 5G technology. So it does utilize state-of-the-art wireless technology. Again, the code mentions co-locatable facilities. Again, the structure is not co-located with or on an existing facility. Right. However, the facility is co-locatable in a sense, so that future carriers can connect to separate antennas, can connect their separate antennas on the tower. So it's not just Verizon.
Okay.
And then it also states that monopoles shall be separated a minimum of 500 feet from any other existing monopole. There's no existing monopoles within 500 feet of the facility. A freestanding facility, the code also requires freestanding facility support structures to be screened from view by siting them next to tall buildings or structures, or placed near existing tall trees where applicable. The support structures are to be screened from public view with dense landscaping. The proposal is to provide a 6-foot tall chain link fence around the lease area. And the site's located on the south side, because the site's located on the south side of Enterprise Way and adjacent to the commercial center, staff doesn't see a need for landscaping because it's not really within the public view. So we believe it meets this requirement. For setbacks and height, it does state that the facility must meet all applicable zoning, setback, and height regulations of the underlying zone district. However, all proposed facilities that exceed the maximum height established by that district are subject to FAA approval. Again, the applicant has provided FAA verification of compliance, and that's included in attachment 5 because it does exceed the maximum height permitted by the zone district. And then the code does state that the facility may be designed as or within a public piece of art. However, because of the locations, it's staff's opinion that it doesn't warrant any stealth or public art design. And the code also requires the height of the facility to meet the minimum necessary to provide the required coverage. Again, the coverage maps included in attachment 6 detail the height the antenna tip height is the minimum necessary to achieve coverage objectives for the site. And then code does require safety lighting if prescribed by the FAA. However, the FAA doesn't, it's determined there's no hazard. So again, doesn't require safety lighting.
Okay.
Then color and design, again, we've conditioned it to be painted a desert tan color to blend with the surrounding area. And the code requires new facilities to not create any non-conforming situations. With approval of this, it would not create a non-conforming situation, as it would comply with the TMC, the building code, electrical code, all other codes applicable to the development. The code does mention that the Planning Commission can condition the approval of facilities of up to a 5-year term or other review process. The lease agreement between the city and the applicant provides for an initial term of 5 years with 9 renewal options of an additional 5 years each. So 50 years altogether, if renewed after those 5 years. And whip and microwave dish antennas are permitted only if integrated into the design of the structure. There is a proposed microwave dish antenna that has been conditioned to be screened from public view. So with this condition, the requirement to screen those from public view would be met. The project is required to the code does require all utilities associated with the facility to be placed underground. The project does propose all utilities to be installed underground. And then the code does mention that chain link fence is not permitted for containment of the facilities unless such fencing is located in the rear portion of the property not visible from a public right-of-way and is installed with full width screening slats on all facades. Again, this is not within the public right-of-way, so we believe the chain link fencing is, what's the word? Adequate, sorry.
Sufficient?
Sufficient. However, we have conditioned the project to install the full width screening slats on all sides of the fence, so it's not a see-through fence. Code does not permit lattice towers. This is not a lattice tower. And then the code does require the operator, property owner, responsible for maintaining the facilities in an appropriate manner with the adopted conditions of approval. It does mention that if the use is replaced or discontinued for a period of 6 months, the approvals will lapse. And the facility shall be demolished and returned to match adjacent site conditions. Recently has come to staff's attention that the applicant wishes to extend this time period. The code does allow Planning Commission to extend this time period. Staff sees no issue with extending the time period. But that decision would have to come from the Planning Commission. And the project's consistent with the general plan through policies LU-5, LU-72, and policy PF-9. We have been able to make the conditional use permit findings as stated on page 7 and the very top of page 8 of the staff report, and the project has been determined to be exempt from CEQA. And the applicant does have a presentation available. I believe they have it, correct?
Yeah, it's the printout that was.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
So, yeah, so it's on the screen and you guys have a printout, but staff is available for any questions.
Okay. Why don't we just go ahead and let you folks do a quick rundown if you've got something you'd like to say. And should I have to open the public hearing for that, or should I leave it open?
We can open it at this time, yes.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to open the public hearing and then invite the applicants to make presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Phoebe. This is Bill. We work for Assurance Development, and we're here on behalf of the applicant. And thank you for taking the time. We just have this short presentation. So this proposal is for a new 75-foot monopole wireless facility. This facility will allow Verizon to fill a service need by providing in-building wireless coverage to the city of Taft. The facility will allow Verizon to provide more reliable wireless service and improved access to additional wireless services for the benefit of residents, businesses, visitors, and first responders. This includes emergency 911 calls throughout the area. The facility has been designed to support additional wireless providers without the need for additional freestanding facilities in the area. So this slide discusses the importance of Verizon's network improvement. So overall demand for wireless data is expected to grow 20% per year through 2028. 97% of Americans have a cell phone and 85% own a smartphone. Over 72% of households rely on wireless as their only means of telephone communication. Over 81% of children live in wireless-only households. Over 85% of renters live in wireless-only households. Additionally, 240 million calls are made to 911 in the U.S. each year, and in many areas, 80% or more are from wireless devices. So this slide shows the coverage map. So on the left side, you can see the map without the proposed facility. So green is in-building coverage. That would be the best possible coverage. Yellow is in-vehicle coverage. And then red is outdoor coverage, so that is like technically minimal coverage. And then on the right side, on that map, you can show, or it shows the map with the proposed facility. So there you can see that the in-building coverage is very much like increased in the area. So this slide shows the proposed design. So on the left side, it shows the tower. The top antenna is Verizon's, and then it would allow for space below that for 2 additional carriers. And then on the right-hand side shows the property with the lease area, which is approximately, or is 50 feet by 50 feet, and has an access that stems from Enterprise Way. So these show the photo simulations. So this is the view from Highway 33 looking southeast. This is Enterprise Way looking south. And this is the west side looking north. In this one, you can see the shrouding that we're including to hide the antennas. And this is Highway 33 looking east. Additionally, you can also see the shrouding in this one. So we did look at 13 alternative sites. Ultimately, we decided that the proposed location was the most feasible site.
Okay.
And then we did include an EME report in the application, and it shows that we are in compliance with FCC regulations. And that concludes the presentation. Bill has a statement to make as well.
Hi, thank you, Commissioners. Just one thing that, or 2 things that I want to comment on that staff brought up in terms of the proposed conditions of approval. One of which was the mentioned a radome. What we're proposing on the photo sims is it's considered, it's called a shrouding. So that is what we showed as an example of what we would like to propose. In the past, there's been slimline radomes that have been implemented, but technology doesn't allow for that because of the size of antennas. So we just want to clarify that would be a shrouding, which is very similar to the photo simulations. The last point, we did ask for a modification to the proposed draft conditions of approval where there's a 6-month time frame for a discontinuation of the site. I want to note that the tower owner is a tower company by the name of Vertical Bridge. The anchor tenant is Verizon. So if Verizon, for some reason, decides to discontinue that facility, Vertical Bridge has an incentive to find another anchor tenant on there. So we want to make sure that we have sufficient time to get another anchor tenant on there, go through the permitting process to get that done. So that's why we do ask for an extension of 1 year.
That's reasonable.
And that concludes our presentation. Here to answer any specific questions about the project.
Okay, any questions, folks?
I have one for the director. I believe Frontier is doing a data center / communication hub right there Petroleum Club and Wood Street.
Fairly close to that.
How close is that to it?
Oh, the fiber hut.
Yeah, the
Fiber hut?
Yes, that we approved in August.
I
So
guess they
it's
won't conflict, but
Not that we're aware.
And then I saw you it had 911 increased ability, your tower, is that helpful?
Yeah, yes, it
So
would
close to
incre-
the police department?
Yeah, it would increase the ability for 911 phone calls. When you are doesn't matter what carrier you're
Right.
on, if you make a 911 call on a cellular device, it'll ping the nearest tower. So this, regardless if you're on Verizon, T-Mobile, whatever carrier, it will provide additional 911 services within that area.
Do you anticipate other providers to join on this?
That is the hopes. I think there is a need. Vertical Bridge, their business model is to build structures for multiple carriers. And so the tower is designed to accommodate, we're showing up to 3 carriers on that tower.
Does the shrouding impede the signal at all?
The shrouding is designed with what's usually what's called an FRP. It's a fiberglass reinforced paneling that does allow for the signal to it doesn't impede the signal.
Okay.
But there's a specific type of material that has to be used. If they put a metal
That's not
shrouding, we're going to have a problem there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's specifically designed
Just-
with.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So what about making it look like a tumbleweed? Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
A
right.
75-foot tumbleweed.
Yeah, 75-foot tall tumbleweed.
We've already done the water tower.
Yeah, we got the water tower, the railroad,
If we're gonna do jokes, I was thinking that there should be a 75-foot palm tree out there.
Okay, now that we've gotten through that.
All right.
Those are not conditions we're applying, I promise you.
Appreciate that, Joe.
we have dad jokes too.
Yeah, exact dad jokes, exactly. Unless there's any other questions for the applicants, anybody else wants to make a comment, they're free to do so, and then we will close the public hearing and go for a vote.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing. If we're going to do the extension, it seems to me like that would be reasonable and the planning commission can. Is there a recommended added language or is that already in there?
No, so as the condition states right now, it does, it's condition number, sorry, I always have to do this. Condition number 2 of the planning department conditions. The second sentence says, I'll just read the full thing. It says, should the use be replaced or discontinued for a period of 6 months, the approvals shall lapse, the facility be demolished, and the facility site shall be returned to match adjacent site conditions. Should a different replacement and discontinuation period be approved by planning commission, the approvals shall lapse, facility be demolished, and the facility site shall be returned to match adjacent site conditions within the time period allowed by planning commission.
Okay. So I guess my question, and it might be for the attorney, when we do our motion, should that language be added in?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're going to need a motion. The motion is correctly stated at the top of at the recommendation, but we'll need whoever is going to make that to add that the condition, there's particular language we should use. I would appreciate hearing what that could be, because I want to make sure it goes through right the first time. But the goal is to give them an extension of time on
In the instant that it
Yeah.
gets canceled, yeah.
Right. So that, and that will be an extra year. So we'll let them make the decision how it should sound, and then
Deal.
we'll offer an opportunity for,
You can make the recommendation and say, with the with the change to planning commission to, the planning commission two's planning condition number two's time period, for a period of 1 year instead of 6 months.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna let somebody go ahead and make the motion, and if somebody's written the language down, they're probably nominating themselves to make the motion.
I'll just second it.
Can you make it?
I'll give her a
Give it a
go.
shot.
I'll motion to adopt a resolution entitled, resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Taft approving conditional use permit number 2025-13 to construct a new 75-foot pole monopole with a 50 by 50 square foot lease area located on the south side of the dead end of Enterprise Roadway within the general commercial zone district APN 220-290-07.
And that might be the point to add the,
I'm gonna screw this up, but with the recommendation that we approve a 1-year extension.
on extending planning commission condition 2,
Exactly.
from 6 months to 1 year. We've got that, right?
I approve that message.
He's adopting my language.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you can start at and finish.
And find that the project is exempt from the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, as set forth in section 15332 of the CEQA guidelines in field development.
Okay.
Like to second that motion?
Okay, good.
It's so much easier.
So we have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Dowden,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Schertz,
Yes.
Commissioner McDaniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Black,
Abstain.
and Chairman Livingston.
Yes.
Thank you.
You have your approval. Thank you.
Thank you all.
We are now at the point of number 5, citizens' requests for public comments. There are none? Okay. We will then look at the minutes for adoption. I'll need a motion and a second for that.
Wasn't here.
I seem to recall that presence isn't required to actually make a motion
Yeah.
at the meeting, or would you prefer still having somebody who is?
I assume the three of you were here the last meeting, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I would move to accept the meeting, minutes from the meeting of August 6, 2025, regular meeting as printed.
I'll second.
Okay. And we are going to call for roll call vote, and they can either abstain or say yes, I suppose.
Commissioner Dowden,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Schertz,
Yes.
Commissioner McDaniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Black,
Abstain.
Chairman Livingston.
Living, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now down to the planning director report. Have you talked enough yet?
Nothing left, no. No reports or comments.
Okay. Okay, that's what comes from sitting next to the city attorney, because I'm going to ask him for his comments now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, no comment.
Okay, I'm now asking if there's any comments from the commissioners.
I'm back.
Okay.
Late, but back.
Public comment?
No, yeah, it's, you just, whatever you want to say. I mean, it's not,
I just want to say that Oil Dorado was incredible, and to everyone who put that on, just what a tremendous experience. We live in absolutely, I believe, the greatest city in California, for sure. And it's just an honor to be part of it and to see what goes on, the celebration of all things oil and the history of it all. And it's just, I want to give a public just accolades to all of the folks for all their hard work. It's a tremendous amount of work. I realize that. You can see it in the orchestration of it all. And it just came off just so great. I'm sure it did great financially and all of that, but I will say just from the spectator point of view, it was just tremendous. And all that is going on in our world right now, and a lot of the uncertainties and how things look, I want to say that we live in a great city of hope. And I just want to put that out. And I'm very, very proud to be a Taftian.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mayor, commissioners? We're not going to force you to say anything, but
I would just echo the same comment that the executive board and the general board for Oil Dorado did an excellent job. Stephanie did great. From volunteering to being a part of it, I was just impressed, as she said, how smoothly it all went. They had some great new things. The tug of war was great. That was a lot of fun. I just think they did a great job.
yeah, my family was down, my sister and brother-in-law were down for the end of the events, and we had a great time at the motorcycle races. Usually you have to run out to Honolulu Hills to see those. It was nice to have them right downtown, so that was fun. And the city staff obviously did a lot of work to make that happen, and I want to say that along with the Oil Dorado committee, that it was great. I mean, you saw all of the staff doing whatever it took to keep the place clean, things moving along. So they deserve a lot of credit for that as well, and I thank them.
I was also glad to see that they included the Hispanic community in part of the celebration, and I'd really like to encourage to see that expanded. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, given that they're probably a little more than a third of our community's population now, maybe even more than that, it's good to have them involved as part of the family. So, if there's no other comments, we're going to move on to identification of a representative to the City Council. And in this particular case, we've been counseled that maybe more than me should be doing the presentation. So do we have a volunteer for presenting this information to the City Council?
What's the date?
The date would be...
December 2nd?
Yesterday was the 4th, so it would be the 18th?
Of December? Or
No.
Yeah, I could do it.
Of November.
I'll volunteer.
Okay. And my recommendation is to just drag your agenda along with you.
Got it. On the 18th, correct?
Yeah.
What does that entail?
In giving a presentation, you're simply giving a brief overview of what happened at the previous Planning Commission. Sometimes that's like about a 2-minute presentation, and other times, like this one, it'll be a little longer because we've had more items on the agenda. I think the council just likes to know a little bit about what's happening.
Is it at 4 o'clock now too also? Or?
No, they're still 6 o'clock.
God.
I'm going to look and see if you voted on that.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I slept a lot since then.
So do you, I will make an admission that when I got my notice, I said, I thought it was at 5 o'clock.
No, it was,
I got chastised too. If we now have a representative of the City Council, we simply need a motion for adjournment.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good enough. Thank you.